No, I'm guessing you would be equally psyched at the prospect of martial law.
When you put it that way, Brian, no. Still, the answer is no. And thank you for having me, and it's good to be here with you, Mr. Meacham. I think Michael Flynn is an interesting character to carry this deviant message. The shortest serving national security advisor in U.S. history, clearly for good reason. Convicted criminal who pled guilty, clearly because he did crimes. And he's out here peddling a message that, if it weren't so dangerous, would just be comical and pathetic. But it is dangerous. And what I find most remarkable is that this is coming from the party that calls itself the Law and Order Party. They chanted it in 2016 and 2020 with equal vigor. And yet when a legal election happens and is legally certified by Democrats and Republican elected officials and appointees, when court cases are brought and they are summarily dismissed up to about 60 times, I didn't know you could lose an election so many times in so many new and interesting ways, even by Republican appointed judges, including by the Supreme Court, the law and order crowd won't submit to the law. So if you only submit to the law when you win, you're not submitting to the law at all. And that's not a very American thing to do. And I think we need to keep reminding ourselves that one party's trying to take the ball and go home. And that ball is our social compact. It's our ability to self-govern. And we have to call it out every time.
John, first of all, what he just said, and second of all, what's the damage to just opening the door to this conversation? You'll note the retired general made his comments on Newsmax, apparently because Fox News is no longer to the right enough to be the right vehicle for such interviews.
Yeah, this is what, and I think the word compact is really important here. 1964, Richard Hofstadter wrote an essay, it was in Harper's, called The Paranoid Style in American Politics. And it was about, in that era, the John Birch Society, going all the way back to the 1790s. There is this strain in American life where when you feel powerless, you believe that there has to be this large conspiracy that is arrayed against you. It elevates your own drama and it raises the stakes of every moment. When Hofstadter wrote that in 1964, he was still talking about something that was over here. The problem is now it's right here. It's moved to the, not quite the center, but it has moved decidedly into the major prevailing political conversation among conservatives, so-called conservatives, who are not in any sense conservative in the sense that either we would have recognized in the 18th and 19th and 20th centuries, and certainly the Reagan, Bush, 43 kind of conservatives. So we're beyond that. And I think one of the big tasks facing people who are conservative, who do have deeply held conservative economic philosophies or conservative social issues, whatever it may be, the question you have to ask yourself right now is, do I hold these principles and will I fight for them within a compact, or am I going to submit to the personality and risk the entire experiment? And too many of us are willing, apparently, to risk the entire experiment.